Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Toronto and Natrona Heights, Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Burl in Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington. And it is great to have you with us. Welcome everybody to Sportsline Trivia. Bob Tattern with Mike Pavlik, who tonight is.
I had one on. What I was doing was I was going through all of them, taking them out of storage, basically, wearing them one time, getting them washed and pressed and through the system.
Oh,
we'll be ready to go. Now here is my hope, and this happened a few years ago. Is I have probably 4 of them. And then I'll wear one week 1, right? And then if they would win, then I'll wear it week 2. And then if they would lose, then I would switch to a different shirt. And usually,
but you do change socks regardless.
Well, I wear the same ones, but I will launder. So as the year goes on, chances are I'll get through all 4 of my shirts, except for 2009. When guess what?
They won them all.
It was the same shirt the whole way through the season. I'm hoping for one of those. That'd be the greatest thing in the world. I don't know.
Well, lots of things.
Yeah.
Lots of things happening. We've got, believe it or not, and it's one of my wife's favorite times of the year. Little League Baseball. Loves to watch it.
Oh, I love watching it too.
And this year is the first year in decades that we've had the Pirates go. To keep it.
I was just looking at the
Pirates.
The Pirates are still in first place, but you'd never know it by listening to everyone.
Oh my gosh! And the Steelers, of course, losing game number 1.
And plates this if you're watching this on streaming live. We got a game tonight.
So
it's the Redskins on ESPN.
And I told Mike before the program, we were talking about A-Rod, and some things came up about A-Rod tonight. And I said, Mike, I wonder if I proposed this question to the audience, that if you as a father with a young kid, boy or girl, but particularly a boy who loves baseball, who would you like to be his hero in Major League Baseball? What player would you pick that you'd like to have your son emanate, duplicate? And
there were plenty out there. I know Charles Barkley always said, we're not we don't really be the role model.
We're athletes.
Dad should be the role model. We understand that. We know what that means. But I just thought it was a good question. I'd like to see what people think about that.
All right.
It's a, who would you choose? And pick a sport. We don't care. Pick somebody that you think really has those kind of values that you wouldn't mind your kids following.
All right. Last week we had 4 shots at multiple choice and 1 on the Grand Salami without a winner. So tonight we're going to try to change the fortunes a bit with that. Taking a look at rules and regulations on winning a prize here on the program. And please don't be bashful. Go ahead and call. All right, 724-236-0430. You are eligible to win a prize at your home address every other week. The Grand Salami or the Mystery Profile can only be won once in a calendar month, one or the other. And you can only try the Mystery Profile once a month. And there's a reason behind that. We want to, some people are constant early callers, and some people are always the second half hour. 15 seconds for the multiple choice, 20 for the salami, clue by clue for our Mystery Profile. First-time callers will get more than 1 prize, and if you catch me on a generous evening, we'll make it 3 prizes, okay? DoubleDribbleBob.com has the answers to our trivia questions that we ask here in the program. And my radio program every Saturday morning, WAVL at 10 o'clock. And I hope you're going to be tuned in. Good stuff there as well. In the meantime, we're going to take our first break, and we'll come back, got a bunch of calls ready to go at 236
0430. 724.
Yeah, don't forget the area code.
236 0430. 3-0.
All right, break time. We're coming back. Stay with us.
Husqvarna, taming the wild.
Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Accidents happen. Are you prepared? You can be with a wide range of homeowners insurance options from Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557. My First Book on Sports is available not only through the internet, but at various local businesses in the AK Valley. It's Bob Tatterns Sports Minutes. Short sports stories, odd and unusual, fascinating and funny, only take about a minute to read. Go online to doubletripplebob.com where links are provided for Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Word Association to get book information. Get your copy locally at Costello Printing in Tarentum, Blackburn's in Tarentum, Myrna's Brewery Outlet in New Kensington, or the Hot Dog Guys Lower Borough. And if you're going to shop for a pre-owned vehicle, make sure you stop by Tower Auto Sales in Blawnox. 3 indoor showrooms. It's a full-service facility with an experienced staff. They have Lexus products and all makes and models available. Tower Auto Sales. Just buy it. Call Mike Fanto. He's the big GM, the big, what do they call the guy?
The big kahuna.
The big kahuna at 412-828-6202. Chris is going to start us off with our phone call session here tonight. So, Chris, welcome to the program. Thank you for tuning in. Okay.
Hey, Chris.
I mean, what's your call on that one?
Well, last week we said I needed to see a week. I needed to see.
You saw your week?
I saw my week.
And?
Now I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
Oh, Michael. I disagree with
7.5 games ahead.
Or Chris, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And they're how much? They're what?
7.5 games ahead of Arizona.
Okay, I don't think. I mean, if anything, they might be in the third place. What do you think?
Well, third place is still good enough to make the playoffs if they finish ahead of Arizona. That's my point. The thing is, you may not win the division, but you can still make a wild card, which still gets you where you need to go. You're still going to have to win that one game, and then you're on basically equal footing with everyone else that made it. Now, the problem is, with the new wild card system, the 2 wild cards play each other. It's one game, winner take all. Great for TV networks, not good for your stomach if you're a fan. But, that will be it. But this week wasn't good at all.
What'd you think of the new guy, by the way?
So liked him so much, they sent him back already. Now, not necessarily Lambeau's fault. They got into a jackpot with their pitching staff, but here you go. That series this weekend was very important against Arizona, and I don't know that they treated it that way. And I was a little disappointed with that game yesterday. They really needed to win yesterday. They didn't.
I mean, that was a pretty big loss. I mean, that was a hefty loss if you want to say anything.
Right. Well,
2 hefty losses in a row.
Good news is, like we said earlier, Chris, they're still in first place. They can still right the ship. But here's the problem: last couple of years, they've had a chance against San Diego in very similar circumstances. I mean, they went to San Diego the exact same day last year and ended up and were swept by a lousy Padres team. Their high water mark for the year, both last year and this year, was on August 8th, and then after that is when the bottom fell out. They went 16-36 last year after August 8th, from August 9th on. This year, from August 9th on, they're 2-7.
Wow.
Okay, well,
I know.
there looks.
We need another week, Chris. And then
What do you think about the Steelers tonight? I don't figure them to win either, because I think you're going to be doing bad in the playoffs, especially when they have the rookies. I don't think you're blowing any starters, or am I incorrect on that?
Well, they want to play, supposedly they want to play the first team line almost the entire first half, except for Pouncey. Pouncey's going to come out earlier than the other 4 offensive linemen, but those guys are going to play. Le'Veon Bell's supposedly healthy enough to go. Ben Roethlisberger's going to go. They're going to play their starters at least through the first quarter. and into the second quarter, and then he'll start pulling guys out one at a time, I
I
guess,
hate to say
depending
this.
on
I
seniority.
don't think we're
All
looking
right,
for
Chris,
another
we got to
loss.
jump to your trivia, so let's give it a shot.
Multiple choice, please.
All right, you want to do the first one, Mike?
Sure, why not? This will be question number 1, Chris.
I don't know if I'll win or not, but I'll give it a try.
Give it a shot. Here we go. Who is the only major leaguer to appear in 3 consecutive World Series with 3 different teams?
Okay.
Don Baylor, Dusty Baker, Bobo Newsom, or Ricky Henderson?
I'm going to go Ricky Henderson.
That is not it. It is Don Baylor, 1986, 87, and 88. 86 was with the Red Sox.
Okay, thank you.
87, good question. 88, one of them was with Oakland. One of them was with the Red Sox. Angels never made it to the World Series back then.
Okay, talk to you later.
We'll look into it, Chris.
So that's it. But
thanks.
Don Baylor's your answer. He's back on somebody's bench now, being a coach. He may be with Arizona. He might have just left town. He might have been with Kirk Gibson. So.
All right, thanks, Chris, for the call. Let's go to caller number 2. Thank you for tuning in tonight, whoever you are and wherever you are. Appreciate your calling in.
This is a limo man.
Hey, Limo Man.
I gave Ruben Amaro Jr. another DoubleDribbleBob.com.
All right. I never hear from these people.
Ruben Amaro Jr. Ruben Amaro Jr. is on my list this week. That he fires Charlie Manuel,
Yeah.
and
He offered him another job.
he offered him another job. He's the one that should be fired. Charlie Manuel didn't pick that lousy team that he got left with all those old guys that are falling apart that should have been traded, and he didn't do it. Ruben Amaro is the culprit here.
I don't think Ryan Sandberg is the answer.
No, I don't either. I'm not. Well, we don't know, but I'm pretty much my going into Ryan Sandberg opinion is the same as yours. Yes.
It's really a shame. I left a voicemail for Charlie on Saturday.
I really like that guy, and
Everybody liked him. Chase Utley, he's really upset about it.
well, a lot of people are. And I'll tell you what, from what I understand, now normally in a place like Philadelphia, when you fire the manager of your baseball team, it's going to be a popular move. When the team isn't doing as well as you would expect, it was not a popular move.
No.
And by the way, Billy, that sounded great. I just want to throw that out there.
I thought Scott Fransky was going to say something about it, but he didn't.
No, so I don't know. They obviously
There was a lot of discussion about this over the weekend on,
that
on a number of shows.
they obviously want to go in a different direction. That's what they all say. And another thing too, Bruce, was that he didn't have a contract after this year, and they hadn't signed him to an extension. And
The Pirates signed Kyle Farnsworth. He's 37 years old.
the Farns, that's right up their alley. 37-year-old relievers. So
Yeah.
well, hey, here's the deal. This is bullpen fodder for September. Think about it this way: the week that they just have had with all these extra inning games and really taxing their bullpen. That these are guys that you can bring up in September to fill out your roster, and you have a major league arm, a major league experience
Well,
pitcher
that's
that can
why
go
they
out
did
there.
it.
So hopefully they won't get into any more of these jackpots here for the next 2 weeks, and they can try
Either
to.
that, we'll have to get Bob Tattern in there.
Bob can throw.
And I'll tell you what, the problem is hitting with runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
We just keep coming up empty.
The problem is they just don't have enough good hitters, period. That's really what it comes down to. And you have some guys that have just had a bad year. But nothing's new here. We knew this 2 weeks ago during the trading deadline. We knew that they couldn't hit.
They should have tried to get Stanton from Florida.
Well, supposedly they did, but I guess there's some question about how hard they went after that. So.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. That would have been great. They don't seem to A, want to part with any prospects, and B, part with any more of Bob Nunning's money.
That's true.
Those two things right now seem to be an obstacle.
All right, Bruce, let's do some trivia.
All right, multiple choice, Bob.
All right, here we go. You have question number 2 in rotation tonight. Chris, our first caller, came up empty. Maybe we get a winner out of you. Who is the only head coach in football who won a Super Bowl game and a Rose Bowl game? And here are the options. Bud Grant, Don Shula, John McKay, and Dick Vermeil.
Repeat the question one more time.
Who's the only head coach to win a Super Bowl game and a Rose Bowl game?
Oh, okay. And the options are?
Bud Grant, Don Shula, John McKay, Dick Vermeil.
I'll say John McCain.
No. Dick Vermeil
UCLA 1976 and the St. Louis Rams in 2000. Okay?
Yeah, and there's a long drive in deep right center field, and this ball is for Tony from Arnold and his friend Leo from Arnold.
All right. Let's go to Mark next on a work break. Mark, welcome to the show. We're going to squeeze you in, man.
Good evening, fellows.
Hi, Mark.
What's your opinion of that instant replay vote for baseball?
What was the vote?
Well, they haven't
Well, I
had
mean, they're going to do something. They're going to expand some of the.
Right. They haven't had the vote yet, but they're going to go to a challenge system. Everything is going to be reviewable, except for balls and strikes, which, frankly, I think that's the most important thing. And I'm for the robotic call ball strike. If you're going to do this, you might as well just go whole hog and go in. But what do you think?
So in other words, okay, we talked about this off air, myself and another individual. It matters when you're sliding into a base, making an attempted steal, and it's so. The one that I brought up was the play when we were at home not too long ago, and the second baseman for whomever was up in the air, never touched the bag, and going for the ball.
The Tulowitzki play in
That was
Denver,
it,
yeah.
right? And it winds up costing us a possible run. We lost the game.
Bob, I thought of one of these I think it might have been yesterday. There was a play where it wasn't Saturday because I didn't see Saturday. It was either Friday or yesterday. But a guy slides into a base. It was one of our players. It might have been Marte. It might have been Walker. I'm not even sure. But he slides in, and they call him safe, or they call him out. Whatever the case may be. A lot of times you'll see the ball beats the guy.
Uh-huh.
And pretty much the guy just has to have the ball, and he puts the ball down somewhere in the vicinity when the guy slides in, and the umpire goes up with the right hand. I'm thinking you're going to be able to challenge every single one of those because when they go to the review, they're not going to say, well, the ball beat him, so, and nobody really argues that call.
You know, the play, as I think about this, the one play that will be challenged the most is the neighborhood play,
Well,
where
sure.
you give the ball from either short to second.
And
or
nobody
second
really
to
has
short.
an issue with that because all you're doing is save an injury with that. And now those are going to be reviewed. And then here's the other thing, Mark. Shenanigans are going to ensue. How will the manager know if he wants to challenge it or not?
Oh, I see.
Are you going to have
So how
somebody
many a game?
upstairs?
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be 3, I guess, but, until the 7th. I don't. But are you going to have somebody upstairs radio down say you better challenge that? Are they now going to show the close calls on the scoreboard at the stadium because they don't now? Which I think is the only people in the world that don't know whether the umpire messed it up or not are the people that actually paid for the ticket. And they won't show. They're going to have to, if they're going to review these calls, they're going to have to show them in the stadium.
And Michael,
I mean, they review
there's
the home
another-
runs. They review the home runs now,
Right. That's
and
the
they don't
other
show
thing.
it in the stadium.
They
You have
should,
no idea.
yeah. Well, what they can hook up, actually, is each team would have the accessibility of the instant replays to quickly tell the coach, if
They
you're
need to
only
have that.
getting 3
And then-
challenges a game.
And then, what if you don't like the first replay you saw? Then the catcher has to go out to the mound to talk to the pitcher to stall for time.
Yeah.
There's going to be, I mean, anytime you make a big change like this, there are intended consequences and unintended consequences.
I hear you.
I want to see what the unintended consequences are that we don't know yet.
Well, can we do this first in spring training?
Well, that's what hockey does, and God bless them. They'll go to change the rule, and they will take it in training camp, in the exhibition games, look at it, and then decide if they like it or not, and then vote on it to put it in. But no, it's
Well,
Bud
and you know
wants
what?
it.
The only
Bud
sport-
wants it. We're having it.
And the
That's
only sport that doesn't need one is basketball.
pretty much. I don't
If
even think
the-
that
the-
they review the clock issues and possible flagrant technicals, flagrant
Okay.
1, flagrant 2s.
Mark, have we answered your question?
I think they were supposed to be allowed 2 before the 7th inning and 1 after, or
Or
something
the other
like
way, I
that.
think it's 1 before the 7th inning and 2 after.
Oh,
But then
okay.
if you get it right, you keep it.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't be penalized for the fact that the umpires are screwing up.
I never thought, like what Mike said, who knows what replay you're going to see first, and before the next pitch it'd be too late, right?
then
Like
they-
in football.
And then they're going to disallow
It
arguments.
might slow the game up a lot.
It might. I mean, you're going to disallow arguments. The managers aren't going to be allowed to argue if they want to have it reviewed, which I don't necessarily like either.
And the players are going to be complaining because now, let's say the temperature is a little bit nippy. I got cold. I didn't have my
Pitchers? You're going to let the pitcher
Exactly.
throw. Even the pitcher's got to be able to at least throw some pitches out there while he's waiting for the. And it's going to go to a centralized location like
You know
hockey.
what?
They're going to send it
So
back to New York.
Now a 3-hour game becomes 3.5.
Well, and here's the thing. Where do you think most of them now, Mark? Where do you think most calls are going to be challenged?
I don't know. First base.
That's
maybe
what I'm
going
thinking
to be
because
bang bang at first
there's
base.
so many bang bang plays, and you have
Yeah.
a coach standing right there. You're going to have the runner who's very close to it, and believe me, the runner knows whether he's safe or out pretty much. And the coach is right there looking at it. He can hear it. You can hear the bang bang.
And here's what else is going to happen. If that first base coach
Start screwing up.
does not tell the manager to challenge it, then it's an admission the ump made the correct call.
Or yeah, if he does, or what if he keeps giving the manager wrong information? Challenge that one. Challenge that one. 3-4 in a row, he's wrong every time. Then you're going to need a new first base coach.
You ship him back to Bloomsburg or whatever.
Somewhere, but I just want to see what happens. So, when you're going to have some, it's a good thing LaRusse is not around because he'd find his way all through this.
One more quick thing about the Pirates. I have a bad feeling this week is going to either determine them not to fold like they've done, but staying in first place. They got, 7 games on the West Coast?
7
Right.
games. They have 3 in San Diego, 4 in San Francisco. I think
I hope
this-
I'm wrong. I just have a bad feeling that they're going to
After
be
the-
out of first place by the time next week.
I'll tell you what, I'm not even worried about first place right now. I just think that a successful season means that they've made the playoffs. That'll be fine. Because
if you get in.
after this week, I think we're going to know.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm ready for multiple choice. I'm taking up enough of your time and mine.
As long as your boss doesn't mind, Mark, we don't.
Yeah. Well, I'm the group leader on my side, so I'm going to yell at myself.
Exactly. That works for me. Okay, here you go. This will be number 3 tonight. Looking for a winner. We haven't had one yet. Who was the last catcher to be named World Series MVP? Pat Borders, Johnny Bench, Jason Varitek, Thurman Munson. Last catcher to be named World Series MVP.
How about the late Thurman Munson?
Not it.
No.
Bob ran this past me last week, and I
jumped on it.
shook my head. Pat Borders from the Blue Jays, which would have been 92 or 3,
Okay.
was the answer. Now, Bench, I believe, was the MVP in 76.
Was Munson ever, though?
I think Munson may have been, but I'm
I
not.
can't-
Munson had a great series the same year Bench did.
Yeah, okay.
76. Bench won the MVP. Munson hit, I believe, almost 500, well over 400 in that series, but
And
the
didn't
Yankees,
make it,
Yankees
yeah.
were swept. The Reds swept them. So.
Okay, we'll try to get you in next week. You guys have a nice week, and
All right.
thank you.
We
Thank
have
you,
a commercial break, Mark. Thank you for the call. Mike and I will return right after this brief timeout.
380 Auction and Discount Warehouse, Route 380, Murraysville.
Automotive supplies, groceries, housewares, pet supplies.
All at discount prices.
Sofas, dining tables, recliners, dressers and desks, lamps and end tables.
All at discount prices.
Yard and landscaping supplies, special catalog orders, mattresses with full warranties.
All at discount prices.
School supplies, tools, paint, toiletries, model cars, toys.
All at discount prices. Get to 380 Auction and Discount Warehouse today, Route 380, Murraysville.
Why do Arnold Furniture's customers continue to come back year after year? Maybe it's the personal touch that the Miller family has provided since 1975. Maybe it's the prices that are consistently lower than the competition. Or how about the selection? 4 floors of living room, dining room, recliners, bedding, accessories, and so much more. Plus free local delivery, free setup, and free removal of your old furniture guaranteed. The choice is obvious. Visit Arnold Furniture online at arnoldfurnitureinc.com or stop in and see us today.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
All right, folks, don't forget now, if you're going to be ordering pizza, do yourself a favor, call on Mattio's Pizza and Subs. They are located in Brackenridge Heights. Their quality ingredients are top-notch and great food. Hand-tossed pizzas, gyro sandwiches, subs and hoagies. calzones, strombolis, wingdings, and of course, their signature Iron Man hoagie. Give them a call at 724-904-7312. So, Michael, we are ready to go. Couple more calls.
Oh, good.
And we're cooking.
We are.
Okay, welcome to the show. Pleasant good evening.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Mike.
It
Mike
is
from
Mike.
Arnold.
Yes.
Hello, Mike. How are you?
Okay, hey, I wanted to ask you something, Mike. When Marte dropped that ball and they lost the game, all right, just think if that was back in the 60s, what Danny Murtaugh would have done.
Nothing.
Well, do you remember the can of corn that was dropped by Matty Alou in Wrigley Field?
Right.
That's what it reminded me of. That was 1970. Danny Murtaugh was the manager, and guess what? Matty Alou was right back in there the next day, and they won games, and that was well into September. If you remember.
Stuff
Two
like
outs
that.
in the bottom of the ninth, the game was going to be over, and Matty Alou dropped that ball. And here's what's interesting. This is something for Starling Marte to look forward to. Is that I Googled that to find out the particulars of that game because I vaguely remember it, obviously, because I was tiny. But the first three stories that came up on Google when I put Matty Alou's can of corn were his obituaries. That drop fly ball is in his obituaries.
Huh.
It won't let anybody forget it.
Now think about that a minute. Matty Alou won a batting title. Matty Alou was in the All-Star game like 3 times. He was 365 in one year. And he dropped the ball and it made his obituary. This is something for Starling Marte to look forward to.
Jeez, man, I didn't know that.
Well, you're not going to read your own notebook.
I have to agree with your one caller, too, Bob, that I think they're getting tired now. The pitching's going to hold up the entire. I think they're going to start falling.
No.
San Diego and Frisco.
No. I will not allow you to think
what do you
like that.
think, Mike?
I thought they looked beaten yesterday. They looked beaten physically and they looked beaten mentally.
Well, it's because they went extra innings.
They were swinging the balls outside. You'd run the ball to ground and swing at it. They acted like they either didn't want to win or, well, we got another game to go and we got to go a long trip. Let's end it or whatever.
I think they need to adopt. What they need to do is adopt. They need to adopt the
game
rules.
Stunk, to tell you the truth. It stunk what it did.
They need to adopt the Japanese rule where after the 10th inning the game's deemed a tie and we just move on. You can save the bullpen. We'll just take it. We'll just make it a tie.
I'll take more choice.
All right, you got question number 4, Mike, and here we go. Question number 4.
I always stuck with you, Bob, but go ahead, you know.
I'll let that one
It's
fly.
like you're going to make it harder.
All right.
Thanks. Chew.
All right, name, if you will, the first National Football League quarterback to throw 100 touchdown passes for 2 different NFL teams. The first quarterback to do it. Was it Brett Favre, Warren Moon, George Blanda, or Fran Tarkenton?
Can you give me them again, please?
All right, Brett Favre, Warren Moon, George Blanda, Fran Tarkenton.
Either Blanda, I think, or Tarkenton. Blanda, he played all positions. I'll say it's Tarkenton.
You're right. We have a winner.
I was going to say,
Hey!
Mike had gone with his 50-50 there. And he eliminated 2
Well,
of the
I figured
answers.
George Blanda, too, because he quarterbacked and he tackled and played all kinds of, positions and what have you. And he was old, too, when he played.
He was.
I remember watching him when I was younger.
Sir Francis Tarkenton did this. He was traded from the Minnesota Vikings to the New York Giants and then back to the Vikings. The original trade, do you remember who it was for? It was quarterback for quarterback.
Oh, gosh.
Shoot.
Anybody in the peanut gallery out there? It was not Frank. It was Norm Snead.
Oh, for Pete's
okay.
sake.
Norm Snead. Now, Norm Snead also had some time in San Francisco, I believe. But Tarkenton was Tarkenton was the quarterback there. He went back to Minnesota and went to Canton. So things worked out.
Thanks, Michael.
Because, like I said, I was figuring, George Blanda, because he quarterback and played different positions too as well. He kicked and he kicked field goals and what have you.
You got to remember about him though. He went to the AFL. He played for the Oilers in the AFL, and that wouldn't probably qualify.
Hey, Mike, make sure that we have your current address, okay?
Yeah, you still have it, Bob?
If it hasn't changed, I know where you are.
Okay,
All right,
thank you, Bob.
Thanks,
okay.
Mike. Hey, I have news.
All right, guys, bye.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. The New Orleans Saints have released Steve Preston. The Steelers had kicked the tires on him during the offseason. He had an injury. They didn't sign him because I don't think he could have passed their physical back in the spring when they took a look at him. He had those many years with the Chiefs, went to Woodland Hills, he was a great quarterback at Woodland Hills, went off to Michigan, had a great career. He's not a very old guy. Now he played for Todd Haley in Kansas City. And the Saints have released him. I don't know what the story is, but with the Burris injury, this just seems, if he's a healthy player, and the thing about the Saints, they were loaded in wide receivers, and a lot of times the veteran guys will get cut now, so it gives them a chance to hook on somewhere else. The Steelers might have a need there. That might be someplace they want to look. You get a local guy.
Take a look.
George Novak. George Novak, the coach at Woodland Hills, he collects helmets. And I've seen some guys that are in their office
for the kids
where his kids go to where the kids go to college. George Novak has the helmets where they play in the NFL. Yeah, he's not fooling around. He has NFL helmets up there where all his players are. Oh yeah, that's some good stuff.
Let's go to the phones. Thank you for tuning in. Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen. This is Rich.
Hey, Rich, how are you?
Good.
Welcome.
Hey, the Pirates have 72 wins right now. They go 39 more to play. If they break even, they can wind up with about 91 or 92 wins.
If they break even, I think 91 or 92 gets them into the playoffs. I don't think it'll win the division.
No.
If you looked at what they were basically winning 2/3 of their games at home and 500 on the road. If they did that the rest of the way, it would put them in the 94, 95 range, and then you really do have a chance to win the division. I don't see them winning this division. I think that the wild card's probably the best you can hope for right now, and I need to see this week because I just didn't like what I saw. And really, if you look at it, I mean, they've lost 7 out of 9 now. What some people have been saying is that every team that's in first place, every good team right now, has had a streak similar to that. The Pirates hadn't had one yet this year. This is the first time they've had a down streak like that, this long. Now it's can they dig themselves out of the hole. They had supposedly their best 2 pitchers are pitching the next 2 days. Padres don't hit much. Padres aren't very good, but that hasn't stopped them from beating up the Pirates the last couple of years. So this will be a very, very interesting series.
I didn't like yesterday when Sanchez came up to pinch hit. He didn't even swing the bat.
Never took it off his shoulder. 3 strikes, bingo, 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 and he sat down. He should have been booed.
I have nothing to add.
And I'm not really in favor of booing, but the guy, Michael, he's not even trying.
I have nothing to add.
Okay.
You're in. You said it all.
You know, when they didn't have any more pinch hitters left, Johnson was up to plate. I thought maybe they would have brought up Cole as a pinch hitter.
It's a guy I thought of too. And again, Hurdle. I always have to say that I like Clint Hurdle before I say things because people think I'm jumping on him. I'm not. I like Clint Hurdle. I think he's a good manager. After the game, he says, "Well, you know, who knows? What if he got hit on the hand and it would have broke his wrist?" It's like, you can't manage that way. You can't manage scared. But the reason, Rich, was he didn't have any other pitchers to go to. This kid was, if that game went 30 innings, that kid was going to have to pitch all of them. And he just wasn't taking them out. He wasn't going anywhere else because the Gunner used to say, sometimes you got to know when it's okay to lose one.
And where's Vernon Law when you need him?
Well, how about this, guys? They were the Pirates yesterday became the first team in Major League Baseball history to have the equivalent of 2 quality starts in the same game and lose.
Explain that.
6 innings, 3 earned runs or less is a quality start. Okay. Charlie Morton pitched 7 innings, 2 earned runs. Chris Johnson pitched 6 innings, 2 earned runs.
Oh, my.
Okay. They had basically 2 quality starts in the same game, and they were the only team in Major League history to lose. They set records all the time. Aren't they great?
Hey, yesterday was Roberto Clemente's, 89th birthday, huh?
Yeah, I saw that they commemorated that at the ballpark.
And Martin had a double off the wall, right field, but a little bit more, it would have been a home run.
Yeah.
That could have won the game then probably 3-2.
Don't you think
that's a home run?
Don't you think he thought it was out?
Yeah.
The way he did that little dance step there when he hit the ball and dropped the bat, it made me think it was a home run, and I was surprised that it didn't go out.
Well, the Pirates, they got 9 games with Cincinnati. San Diego, they got 7. Chicago, 7, and Milwaukee, 6. Plus St. Louis, they got about 6 with them, right?
6 with them, yeah.
So it's going to be a lot determined in their own division there.
Well, they do. I mean, they're going to, and as a matter of fact, 6 of the last 9 games are against the Reds.
Wow.
So, they don't play the Reds until the next to the last weekend. Their very last home series in Pittsburgh will be against Cincinnati. They don't play them till then, but they'll get the Cardinals right back. They'll get the Cardinals next weekend, Labor Day weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at home, and then the following weekend right back in St. Louis.
Rich, do you remember back in the 70s when the Reds came to town? It was, and then in those days it was a best of 3, if I'm not mistaken, for the
Five.
Was it always 5?
It was always 5.
And then it moved to 7.
Right.
Anyway, the Reds come into town, and he checks the team out of the hotel, meaning that if they lost, they had to find someplace.
Right.
He checks them out of the hotel.
They had their bags.
Puts the bags, So in other words, you guys got to win. We're heading to the airport tonight.
Good thinking by Sparky, though, don't you think?
Oh, gosh.
Sparky was always one step ahead of the game. I always liked that guy.
Rich, what do you want to do with trivia?
I'll go with multiple choice.
You don't want to go for anything else?
Not right now. I'm
Okay.
slump.
That's okay.
All right, Rich, here we go. Rich, I think you might have a shot at this one. Here we go. Who was the first player in the NFL to score 20 touchdowns in a single season? Jerry Rice, Jim Brown, John Riggins, or Lenny Moore? First player in NFL history to score 20 touchdowns in a single season.
I'll say Lenny Moore.
You say right.
Now, why did you guess that that Rich was going to come up with that?
Because Lenny Moore went to Penn State, so you would be more apt to know a local guy.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 60s, Rich's wheelhouse, I'm guessing.
Well, he played for Baltimore, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. Yep.
He was a heck of a player.
1964 was when it
1964
happened.
he did that. And
those were the years.
he probably caught a lot of those too, because Unitas was quarterbacking. And he would catch a lot of passes out of the backfield.
By the way, Rich, would it surprise you to learn that Unitas was the first NFL player, it doesn't matter what position, but the first NFL player to earn 6 figures?
Wow. And he came from Bloomfield.
Yes, he did.
Bloomfield Rams. Didn't Joe Falsetti?
He said he played at Arnold.
He played at Arnold,
Wesley
and
Stadium.
they pulled
You know
him.
what? I think I was at that game.
They pulled him right off
I was
the
a young
field.
kid.
Yeah,
Because he got the call at halftime.
He got the call to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Steelers didn't want him. They wanted somebody like Gary Glick. Remember him?
I remember
Gary Glick, the bonus pick.
He was their number 1 pick back in the.
What was that, Rich? Colorado? Is that where he was from?
I think so. He was a kicker. I think they took him over Jimmy Brown.
Gary Glick, the bonus pick. Yeah, and it turned out that he was a stiff. But of course, everybody they took by things didn't go so well back in the. Well, they had Len Dawson, Ted Marchibroda, Jim Finks. They had a bunch of great quarterbacks at Unitas, and nothing ever materialized with these guys.
They had Kent Nix too. I think you remember him.
Kent Nix and Dick Shiner. That was that's what led into Bradshaw, right?
Yeah. But as soon as he got to Baltimore, things started to improve with the Colts.
Well, yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Well, he was a great player, and he was and Brees. Broke his record just last year for consecutive games with a touchdown. This is a record that he set in the 50s when nobody was throwing the ball like they're throwing it now. And it took till 2012 for somebody to break that record.
And with increased schedules too.
With extra games, and they throw the ball on every down. A 7-on-7 football right now.
Yeah, because in Unitas' day they were playing 12. It eventually went to 14, now up to 16. Rich, congrats.
Thanks, Rich.
And we'll get the prize out to you, whatever it may be. Break time here in the program, and we're coming back in a moment. We don't have a caller.
Call us
set to go.
724-236-0430. 724-236-0430. Call us.
Back in a flash. This is where you get the absolute freshest deli meats and cheeses. Fasio's Italian Deli in Arnold. At Fasio's, you're getting only the best and freshest selection. Fasio's has its own bakery and offers you fresh baked bread, rolls, pastries, and more. Pick up individual salads to go, Italian sausages, hoagies, custom-made sandwiches, even party trays for your next get-together. Freshness and quality every time at Fasio's Italian Deli, Leishman and Dre in Arnold.
Max and his son made their way homeward bound when mischievous rain dropped down, down, down. Safety was threatened by every roguish drip. They slipped and slid. They couldn't get a grip. Then along came the Michelin Man, reminding them the right tire changes everything. Stop up to 31 feet shorter than a leading competitor with the new Michelin Defender tire, backed by a 90,000-mile warranty. Michelin, a better way forward.
Available at Highland Tire under the bridge in Tarentum and Freeport Road, Natrona Heights. Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Westmoreland provides a full range of coverage for all of your automobile needs. Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557.
A trip to Blawnox to get acquainted with the people at Tower Auto Sales if you're shopping for a pre-owned vehicle. Tower Auto Sales, where you buy your vehicle is just as important as what you buy. So get a hold of Mike Fanto at 412-828-6202 and let Mike and his staff take good care of you. Okay, we don't have another caller, but I think we're going to get Paul up here. And while Paul is getting ready to come up, and can you get a shot? We got an expert here. We're going to grab a couple of still shots with Paul.
Fix your hair. He doesn't fix. Paul's fixing his hair. He doesn't fix it for the TV cameras, but for Dennis and taking snapshots over there today. Snapshots. Did I sound old saying snapshots?
Oh gosh. Well, we're old enough to remember that when Polaroid came out with this thing that just oozed out of the camera.
I remember. But the thing I remember most about that, when you would take the picture with that, and it would instantly come out of the bottom, was the smell of the thing. It had its own. The smell, you can't describe it, but it just, you knew the picture was cooking in there by the smell that came out of the little Polaroid that,
Well, it reminds me of the old home.
They were so heavy. Remember how big
permanence.
they were? Those cameras, they were heavy, and they were people would probably have no idea. Google it.
All right, Paul didn't come to talk cameras, but.
I did, no. Yeah, with next Friday, high school football, I'd like to urge everyone to go out and watch high school football this coming season, because I think it's better than pro or college.
It's and the kids need support. They really do. I mean, it's enough. It's not enough to have the parents out there. I'm sure they're happy with that, but
yeah, for only $5 to get in, you can't beat it.
Oh, it's a bargain. It's
I
a
love
bargain.
college football too.
Right.
I really do. More so than the NFL. But you're right about that. Those Friday nights are the greatest, and you get maybe get some weather for a change. There are some years that you could go through the whole 9 weeks and not get a drop of rain, and then there are other years that you're fighting.
Yeah, like 2 years ago.
You're fighting
It'll only rain on a Friday night.
It'll only rain on Friday. Well, my grandmother used to say, and I think she was 100% right about this, that you took whatever the weather was the first day of the month, and that's what you were going to have the rest of it. If it rained on the first Sunday of the month, it was going to rain on every Sunday. I think she was right about that. You get that on Fridays too.
Because that's usually when hurricane season is, and
yeah,
that's when the hurricanes always.
And you could get something coming up the coast, and you're hoping it gets out of the way.
Like
and then one shot of lightning, and you're done.
Paul brings up. I remember this happening. I don't recall the year, and Mike, you may remember, but I think this was before you joined Joe and I on the staff. We had a game with Richland. It was Richland, not Pine Richland. And they were playing at the old high school. And the hurricane that came in, Aussie Santa Cruz Stadium, the hurricane or whatever it was came in. They had a makeshift press box that sat, first of all, the field was down in a, like a little bit of a valley.
Yeah.
And then, like Burrell, the stands built up against the slope of the field. And then up here was a level part, but there was no press box. So what they did was to build something, and I don't know if it was the shop class,
a shanty,
but they put this thing together. It was fairly long,
a lean-to,
but it wasn't permanent. They had it sitting on cinder blocks, and here comes the hurricane, Mike, off the cinder blocks, and I'm telling you, they had a whale of a weekend.
I remember one day we were there. Burrell was playing Pine Richland, and it was basically for first place in Greater Allegheny.
The camera over the side?
And the wind, it was so windy. I remember standing on the field before the game getting lineups from Tom Henderson.
Yeah.
And we were standing on the 50-yard line looking, and the goalpost toward the road, you know where I'm at, over
Yeah,
by where
yeah.
the golf course, was this way. And he goes, and Tom says, well, I could see which way the wind's blowing. It was blowing straight across like this. And by the time I got back up on the field, it had blown, the one camera that we had on the right-hand side there, it had blown it straight down. It toppled it over. And then it became pink. That ended up being the pink camera. That's the one that turned pink. Everything you shot with it was pink.
Yeah, the Hurricanes usually hit like week 3 or 4 of the season. Yeah.
We had one, a deluge at Valley.
How about
was at
we had
Kiski.
one at Fox Chapel, I
Valley
think.
at Kiski. It was a complete and utter deluge. They wouldn't let the bands go on the field. And it was, you know,
that was before the artificial turf.
It was in the late 90s. Oh, it was Davis Field running through the dirt of the infield back. Oh, absolutely.
At least behind the one end zone there, they have shelter. You could, you know.
Yeah, but
that doesn't.
We've had a few. I was out in a few of them. Because I would do the pregame for these guys, and I would say, no. I'm going to go stand out there like Jim Cantori. We're not screwing around. The point of the pregame is to let everybody know what's going on and what the weather is, right?
Right.
So if it was lousy, the one night at Valley Pearl, wind blowing, and I had my arm around the goalpost like this. I wasn't blowing that bad, but it was fun. You know, what are you going to do? It is what it is, but you got to show the weather conditions.
George and I have written a book, and with all this, why not? You've been in the business at least 20 years.
We got enough, I'll tell you that. There's some of the stuff that we could really, I gotta wait, can't do it yet.
I got a title. They call me Milo.
Yeah, exactly. Where did that come from? That's chapter 1. Where did that come from?
And finally
It's a
tonight,
state secret.
I'm picking the Steelers close tonight.
You're picking the Steelers close. Do we have you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to consult the Google machine.
I'll be Mr. Monday Night.
Okay, we'll get your line, Paul, and we will, usually in these games, they make the home team like a 3.5 point favorite because it really, well, how about this? 2.5 and 3 is what I get.
I don't deal with point spreads.
Redskins.
See, I can't.
Well, then you're taking the points. You just double the point spread. You said you want the Steelers close, so you take the 3 points.
Even up.
You want to say who bets on an exhibition game?
Well, that's number one. But
Sick people.
Sick people.
Pete Axtone and Jimmy the Greek did.
I love Jimmy the Greek. That was great stuff.
Jimmy the Greek Snyder.
That was great stuff. He made a
But-
lot of money.
Well,
For a
and
lot
what
of
did he do to cause his firing? What did
Oh,
Racial comment.
he did. He
was at a party. and
He
made
was at a
racial
party.
comment.
He had a few too many to drink, and he said something about that the black athletes were faster because of the construction of their bodies or something, and that did him in. That was the end. And
It's on YouTube.
is it really?
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised. They did a 30 for 30 on ESPN about him. It was terrific. I guess he and Musburger didn't get along at all.
No.
And there were literally fist fights with those two.
They got so many, fist fights.
Well,
There were fist fights behind the scenes that the USA Today said he hated Phyllis George because she was a woman and she couldn't have so she couldn't know anything.
But did he hate
Jane Kennedy?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I never heard nothing about it.
Both very pretty, weren't they?
Yeah.
Especially
Now,
Phyllis. I always liked Phyllis.
If Tim McCarver and Neon Dion happen to be covering the same game, they're going to be on opposite sides of the field, I got to tell you.
Tim seems to have mellowed over the years, but Jimmy.
If only he would have threw that water on Joe Buck instead.
And his comment was something that he thought it was a shame that Dion was playing two different professional sports in 2 different cities on the same day.
Right.
Yeah, I don't even know what did it, but he had said something on a broadcast that Dion had enough, and
Right.
that was that. I wish somebody would throw water on Tim McCarver right now, but luckily for us, he's riding off into the sunset. So I have this thing, Paul. Maybe you can help me with this. A lot of times, the color man and the play-by-play man bleed over onto each other so much that if you really don't like, I really don't like Phil Simms, so it really makes me not like Jim Nantz. Now, when Jim Nantz is doing golf, I like Jim Nantz just fine. So that's telling me that I don't like Phil Simms. If there was no Joe Buck, I'd probably like Tim McCarver a lot more. I just can't stand Joe Buck. It doesn't matter who he's with. It makes me not like Tim McCarver. It makes me not like Troy Aikman. And he'll probably have to, he'll make it, like Limo said it a couple weeks ago, what he called it. He'll have to do golf when they get golf.
Either one of you can correct me if I'm wrong. Do they have, I don't want to call them sideline reports, but do they have female reporters away from the press box for the National Hockey League? That's what I want to know.
Only like in between benches.
TV, the between the benches all seem to be meant, but there are on Hockey Night in Canada. No, Hockey Night in Canada there are. I'm not sure in some of their names.
Who they are? You know?
They are. They'll do a stand-up like from behind the glass, like maybe in the runway with the rink in behind them, and they will. There is Catherine Tappin's on the NHL Network, and she's outstanding.
Right.
But you know they do, and that's why I don't have a problem with that.
They're mainly on the pregame shows.
John Steigerwald does it. He goes, this is going to be completely sexist, he says, but I don't want to hear a woman doing a sport. I just don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
If only they get rid of Ballberry.
All right, Paul, let's do some here with trivia.
I don't like Staggy. It makes me not like Ballberry, see?
Okay, question number 6. We have 2 winners in 5 attempts. So there's your question as you are looking at it.
Imagine if the Pirates could do that with runners in scoring position.
Who was the first National Football League quarterback to collect 50,000 career passing yards? John Elway, Brett Favre, Dan Marino, Peyton Manning.
I'm going to go with the guy that played one game at Highlands, Dan Marino.
You're correct. We have 3 in a row.
What year was that?
Dan Marino in '96, but right now he's ranked 2nd. He's about 10,000 yards behind Favre for the all-time list. But then Favre has played in almost 280 regular season games too.
Paul, that would have had to have been 77 or 8.
77 he played here.
Yeah, and you know what? I've come up with it. The entire list of every Highlands football season.
Right.
We have put it together, but it's not on this computer, so I can't. I need to get it on here now. But
He played the game at Highlands.
It's at home on the old desktop in the cellar.
There you go.
And but that would have been because he was a freshman at Pitt, I believe in '79. There would have been 79, 80, 81, and 80. No, 80, 81, 82, and 83. So it would have been 78 or 79 with Central Catholic.
Okay, got to go. Paul,
right,
thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Break time here in the program, folks, and Mike and I will come back, some final thoughts, and then we'll clean up the studio and head home. Okay?
Let's do it.
Back
Cleaning
in a flash. Mildred, where are you? Since 1914, people in the local area have relied on the Resevich family in deepest time of need. The Resevich family is the oldest established name in the funeral profession in the AK Valley. Its reputation and unquestionable service speaks for itself. Now the proud tradition of service continues with a 4th generation. The Resevich family serves the AK Valley from 2 locations, 5th Avenue Arnold and Leechburg Road, Lower Burrell.
AKLC Studios LLC is the place for your video and multimedia needs. Let AKLC Studios produce a unique television commercial for your business. At your location or in our studios, we're here to meet your needs. Ever want your own television show? Let us show you how. AKLC Studios LLC can even tape your special events and weddings. Whatever your multimedia need, call AKLC Studios LLC in Leechburg today. Professional quality at hometown prices. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Welcome to Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, the place for big appetites. Their great sandwich selection includes the Geronimo, piled high with generous portions of meat and fixings. Their barbecue ribs are the best in town. Half rack or full rack, they don't come better. Buffalo Bill's wings are everybody's favorite. Uniquely oven-baked, not deep-fried, and yet so crispy. Your choice of 13 flavored seasonings. Grab a bucket for the big game. Eat in or take out, credit cards accepted. Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, Freeport Road, New Kensington, across from Felderelli Square.
I just had a thought, and of course, I have a book out, George has a book out, and nowhere in my book, and maybe I should have devoted a little bit of space to it, were the conditions that Joe and I had back in the 60s when we first started to do play-by-play. Springdale, we sat on the ticket booth with it's the God's truth. If anything happened, we had an umbrella, but there was no protection. At Plum, we sat out in the bleachers with the stands, with the fans.
Done that.
Yeah, it's nothing new, but the conditions were so cruel.
Remember at Shadyside?
Oh,
we first
yeah.
started doing some games at Shadyside. Those Saturday afternoons were great. We sat. You brought stools from your house.
Yeah, from our
game room. We sat on 2
room.
stools from the game room, and we put them in there because Joe wouldn't go he wasn't sitting on the stools, so Joe wouldn't go. So I get those, and we put those stools in the bleachers.
we had
and then we'd have a
another one.
third stool put in front of us with the monitor on it.
And we had duct tape all the way
Taped it
around.
all around, and the stools were taped to the bleachers so we wouldn't tip off. And then, and usually when we'd be down there, it wouldn't rain, but you could get those late September, early October days where it was very, very warm. The sun would be beating down on you, it would be beautiful, but the bees were ridiculous.
And
you know what? The first week of the season, you open up that press box usually for the first time, and
it's bees and
it's
hornets.
bees and hornets, and yeah.
Well, and Dennis, who's in the audience here tonight, has been around.
He knows. And
Dennis started his career back
like
in.
And you mentioned that about the different conditions. Ray Goss did a book, and Ray Goss has done Duquesne games for a million years, and has done games in Indiana and Catania. And his book had a lot of that in it. He really went through a lot of the different circumstances and near plane crashes and things along those lines.
We did a baseball game in Freeport where we actually ran a power cord to a home because there was no electric at all. And the lady plugged it in their kitchen, had to leave the screen door open a little bit. Let me know when you guys are done.
Unbelievable. So anyway, we're about to get started here. Next week, Bob, we're gonna
I've got Bronzeville at Burrell.
We're gonna take back over Tuesday nights on Channel 190. Bob will go at 6:30.
6:30.
And the Highlands games will go at 8:30 right after. And we'll go through the 9 weeks, and Bob will have
And the only change,
a mix of some
Burlington Valley and Riverview, instead of being played back on a Thursday night, we found a slot on Wednesday.
Oh, that's nice. That's
moved
better.
that up a bit.
But we tried it out last year. We had a new system. We had new people to work with. They've actually
Comcast.
with Comcast. You're right. They were still working with Comcast, but it's just different people. Heck, they've farmed our business off to Boston now, basically.
Right, up in Massachusetts.
And the people have been very nice about it. And so we needed to find times to play them, and it has to be different because we can't conflict with the Meadows, and that's the reason that we're not really rolling those babies back the next day on a Saturday like we used to. And we tried the Tuesday night last year, and all of our people seem to like it because the kids are through with practice, they're home, they're able to see the games, and there's not a whole lot that goes on Tuesday nights. There's no, we stayed out of the way of Monday Night Football on purpose, went to Tuesday, and things seem to work out all right, and hopefully we'll have
some exciting games.
Wins. We'll get some you got playoffs last year. We didn't. We think we will probably can have some playoffs.
Well,
this year
good.
with
I hope you
too.
do.
So hopefully considering everything that's going
I'm
on.
rooting for you. Okay.
Well, a lot of people are. It was kind of a sad end of the summer up there, and hopefully with the Ryan Richards tragedy. And but I got some info here the last couple of days that the team's shaping up, and
That's good to hear.
had a nice scrimmage against Hopewell. They will scrimmage Burl this coming Friday.
Right. To recap, we had 3 winners tonight on trivia, and then next Monday we're going to tell you what they won. And I want to welcome another prize giver. Elena's Restaurant in Lower Burrell has joined us as of this week to start giving away, some prizes. So anyway, we are going to maintain the Monday night for Labor Day weekend. We're going to be on the air Monday night.
Okay.
Okay. Am I correct, Billy? Yes. Okay, thank you. In the meantime, thank you for watching, everybody. I'm Bob Tatter.
I'm Mike Pavlik.
And we'll see you next week.
For watching Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, New Kensington, AKLC Studios in Leechburg, Arnold Furniture, 5th Avenue, Buffalo Bills, New Kensington, Fazio's Deli and Meats in Arnold, Highland Tire, Toretta and Natrona Heights, Mattio's Pizza and Subs, Brackenridge Heights, Resevich Family Funeral Homes, Lower Burrell in Arnold, 380 Discount Warehouse, Murraysville, Tower Auto in Blawnox, and Westmoreland Insurance Services of New Kensington.